I'll mess with it while we're talking. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Laser Source Podcast, the number one podcast if you like to mess with it while you're talking. We got a great show for you today. Lots of new goodies, lots of new tools. If you can't tell, my system's all messed up because I spent zero time preparing for a podcast and 100% of my time trying to prepare the software I wanted to show off today. So I'm cameraless. Sorry about that, if you care. But you've got lots of other beautiful faces to look at today, including Anthony's. What's up, man?
Hi, guys.
Look at that. Look at that shirt, dude. That's a classy ass shirt. I think you should ditch the undershirt and just let that fucking chest hair pop out, you know? Like just
you handsome bastard.
I left my gold chain at home, otherwise I would.
Just it's so like ripe for it, bro. It's ready.
Kyle has not even been around until he heard Anthony's voice and then immediately came running.
Kyle wasn't around until he heard Anthony was taking his shirt off. And then he's like, just kidding, I'm here. Love it.
I desperately needed a drink.
Happy podcast. Oh, yeah, Anthony's got one of those for you.
Yeah, he's got the sip.
He's thirsty.
Matt's here, too. What's up, Matt?
What's going on, man? I've had an interesting week. We had all three kids sick from school. So that's been fun. And then I think I have all my projects done. Like, I think I'm literally done with all my projects. I did just get somebody who emailed me this week about some glasses, like the 10 ounce on the rocks glasses. So got to do those. I really enjoy those. By the way, you should definitely, if you have a UV laser, they make money. They're like $1.25 a piece. You sell them for like $12 all day, $10 to $12.
I have a relevant story about that for later. Yeah, I don't want to forget, so I'm saying it out loud.
Yeah, so that's one of those things. Like that's going on. The other thing is back to school is in full session. I actually just delivered some cups to some people today from like a certain school around the corner. So like reach out to those principals, get to know them, do something, get your foot in the door, man. Like just make a couple of free items and say, I made them something that said Principal of the Month because I made a Teacher of the Month cup order for them. So then they were like, Principal of the Month. Ha ha, that's hilarious. And I was like, yes, every time you hold that in your hand, think of me. So anyways, that would be my one thing. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on. I think that's it, man. And I'm excited to see this new thing that you guys came up with.
Yeah, I have a lot to show you guys today. Almost as much as our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus, who's got a huge catalog of amazing products that you can go check out right now. You guys should be starting to prep for the holiday season if you haven't already. And now is the time. We've been saying that for a couple weeks now. Yeah, look at those tumblers. They're sick.
Yeah, 4 reps.
Specifically like ornaments. I feel like I say this every week for the last couple of weeks, but they're just so hard to get in like November, and they're in stock right now. So you can go get them.
Even also, the next 3 months is kind of when like the grandmas that prep 3 months ahead. This is when you're going to sell them ornaments. So if you can sell them now, it's a lot less stressful than trying to sell them in December when you can't get them.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the people that did prep early didn't buy them from you because you didn't have them. So there's a lot of good reasons to go shopping now. They have really nice glass ornaments that do come out super nice on the UV. And they've got a ton of other stuff too. If you're interested, make sure you check them out. There's a link down in the description. You can save up to 15% off almost everything in the store. And the discount code is YLRZDF, which you can pop in there on your way out the door. 15% is the best coupon code I can squeeze out of them. And it is better. It is often better than their on-site deals. So make sure you give them a check out. Help support the channel. We've got affiliate links again down in the description. So at no cost to you, we get a little bit of kickback and everybody's happy. It's a win-win-win-win-win. Great company. Thank you guys for sponsoring the podcast. Matt just put his finger up at me, but didn't say anything.
I'm trying to find it. Like I just had to order more of them. Coasters. Right now, everybody's moving. Like all the people who are like buying homes in the summer are closing. And a couple of friends of mine who are realtors and like, what do you call it? The money people. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Finance people?
Like the mortgage people. So basically those guys, the mortgage brokers, they are reaching out for gifts left and right. And the hexagonal half wood, half marble coasters, they're super, super good, man. Like they're classy looking and they're nice. And as long as the people know what kind of color stone they have in their house, like I've been making some pretty good money off of those from JDS. I'm trying to find, or JP Plus. I'm tired. JP Plus, and then I'll try and find the like actual code real quick while you guys are talking. But it's a good one to get right now, especially for Christmas coming up too.
Yeah, totally. How are you, Kyle?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Been doing okay. It was a funky day, but
yeah.
Other than that, I mean,
you're here. You're alive.
I'm here. We're doing stuff. We're getting stuff done. Yeah. I just dug through the last 2 days. I've been organizing a lot of old footage that didn't get into a video.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been organizing some newer projects, and there's some classic videos that never got released or edited that I'm going to be sending your way.
Oh,
from a year or 2, 3 years ago, that I'm sure some people will be excited to see.
nice.
There you go.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
That's what that one was.
Oh yeah, those. What is that? It's like marble or some shit.
So yeah, it's marble, and then it's acacia wood or acacia or whatever you want to call it.
It's acacia.
I call it acacia because
It's acacia.
there's a lot of Spanish people around where I live, so like everything. Whenever you see an A and you're not sure, you just say ah. So it's like the European. But anyways, whatever. I've got this acacia wood. But all jokes aside, these are really nice. Well, these are really nice because like it's a super quick engrave using the CO2 Galvo, and it looks super dark. And then on top of that, they have these really, really nice rubberized grips on the bottom, and it comes.
And there are 4 of them, not 3 of them, so they're less wobbly.
So and it's really nice. So long story short, if you're looking for something like if you have a realtor, and I put what they're called. It's MWC-H marble wooden coaster hexagon. Like when you look it up on the actual website, they're pretty dope, and I've made a lot of money making these. So just saying, they look really nice in a basket, and you don't really have to do anything except engrave them, put a little oil on them to make that pop, and they look really, really nice. So just saying.
You look nice, Matt.
I try. I appreciate that.
It does look nice, yeah.
It's because my beard finally came back. You guys hate me beardless.
I mean, yeah, that was terrible. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My children came out and they cried. And,
who wants to see my cool things?
Let's do it.
I thought so. Kyle, you have to share your screen because my video loopback isn't working and I can't share my screen for some reason. So,
all right then.
Like all video things are just not working for me at the moment. It's because I'm on my desktop because I wanted to be comfortable while I was sharing stuff with you guys instead of like bent over a folded open laptop. But here we are.
Like me.
Yeah, but like worse. So we'll give Kyle a second to share his screen.
Oh yeah, by the way, Resin said she loves these coasters. You guys, I'm telling you, get them in your hands.
Get them while they're hot.
Oh yeah, I just remembered. Okay.
Mike C says, Anthony, how's your lens deep dive video coming along?
To be perfectly honest, I'm waiting for my kids to go back to school next week, and I'm going to be wrapping that bad boy up in very short order. I do have a 3,000 piece order that I'm doing for our Mexican Fiesta, little drink tokens, and that lady hit me up at the end of last week, so I'd have to knock those out too, but I can kind of go back and forth. But yeah, as soon as I just don't have 5 screaming children running around the house, I'll be able to actually get some more stuff done. So it's kind of
that does delay progress when working on video content.
Yeah, voiceover is a little difficult when you hear slaps and screams and freaking crash.
All right, guys. So what's important here is focus. I will come out of this damn garage.
Yeah,
I've literally had to do that so many times.
Why was that vein sticking out of his forehead the whole video? I don't get it.
My daughter goes, Daddy, whenever we see you, you're always just so angry. And I'm like, I wonder why.
Right.
How you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. All right, here we go. Things are not wanting to work right now.
It's like, I'm good. I know, dude. That's what I'm saying. I think there's like a solar flare.
Okay,
Well,
here we go.
There you go.
I had to like break Windows to fix this. Okay.
Oh, gross. Check it out, guys. So this is the new Maker Dash at MakeArmy.io, and it's a handy little way to get to all the things. So if you need to get to something, this is where you want to look. We've got it organized into sections. So there's laser everything, communities, utilities, and different ways to support us if you want to do that. They also have little handy indicators, so you guys can let me know if something breaks. Can you do a little hover on one of the indicators there, Kyle? So every time that this loads, the little green dots, it'll tell you like whether or not the service is online. So if you see a red dot, yeah, you can tell me, hey, there's a red dot on whatever. But it gives you the HTTP response so that you can tell me if something is broken, so I can get it fixed for you. So that was kind of a neat thing. You guys have seen most of this stuff already. There's a couple things I want to show you first. We'll save the exciting thing for last. First, I really want to show you guys the new laser toolkit. Do you want to show them the toolkit, Kyle?
Yeah.
So in the toolkit, we've got a lot of fancy new little mini applications here, and they are all meant to make your life in your laser shop easier. Yes, Lightburn does some of this stuff. Some of it doesn't. Some of it is more useful for people that are doing real work, and some of it is more useful for people that are experimenting. And we can talk about that if you guys have input on it. But the main one I want to show you is the completely redone from scratch power and lens scaler. And this is the laser parameter converter, as you guys know, but I've taken it pretty much to the max level. Can we get a click on that one, Kyle?
Which one?
The power and lens scaler.
Yeah.
So here there are a lot of buttons and switches, but it's to get you as accurate a result as humanly possible. And so even though it's a little overwhelming at first, it really does take into consideration far more than anything else we've ever seen, more than the Shark laser param converter, more than the old spreadsheet converter that we used to use to do that basic math. This one really kind of gets into the nitty-gritty of power density, and it takes things like your frequency and your pulse width into account when calculating those things. So you actually get, as you can see, like destination pulse energy, and it gives you a like microjoules reading, so you can see your before and after and know how much energy you're putting down range to see if it truly is, like a close approximation to the setting that you input to it. So if we want to try one really quick, man, like the original fiber laser library was a 30-watt laser, so we can type that in, 30 watts, and that ran at 80% power with 25 frequency. The pulse width on the LP sources are 200, yeah?
Yep.
And the speed on that, I don't know, like 500 millimeters a second, and I always use the 110. So this was the original fiber library. Now, if we want to take this setting and convert it, this is just aluminum general off the top of my head. We do have a quantity to match up there under match mode. And there are two important options here. So if we drop that first box down, you can see we have vector and raster. And this doesn't mean traditionally what you would think of as vectors and rasters. Generally, when we're thinking of a vector and we're talking about engraving, we're talking about a shape made up of points that is filled, versus a raster, we're usually talking about like photos. But this means the definition of these words here means it much more literally. So with the vector, we're only talking about lines. So this is like line versus fill. And you can see it tells you energy per length versus energy per area, right? So if you're cutting along a surface or scoring something, you're going to use the vector selector. If you are filling an object, you're going to use the raster selector. Irradiance would be like if you are just literally blasting like one single spot, how much energy are you putting down on that spot? And then pulse energy does some interesting things, but it's not quite there yet, so I'm not going to show that off today. To keep things simple, let's just click raster, because this is what you guys are actually using on a day-to-day basis. you can see it opens up a option for line spacing, because this matters when you're trying to convert settings. Line spacing is going to make a huge difference. Generally with the fiber, we do 0.025. So that's what we're going to input here. And we also have another little bar down here for you nerds. I think you'll find this really interesting. There is a button that says Show Advanced Frequency Curve. And if we click that, we're using a basic curve that determines your peak pulse output power and like at what frequency that is happening at. Matt, you're muted. I don't know if he's intending to be muted.
No, yeah, I was just trying to see how many. That was very alliterative.
Like, yeah, it was hard. Output power. Yeah, it's a lot. You can adjust this, which is really, really nice. It uses logs for the scale of the curve, and this is a little complicated. If you don't know what it is, you don't have to touch it, but you can and should input your peak pulse output power if you know it. So here's peak frequency. It's really, really simple. So I know my peak frequency on the 30-watt LP is at 25 kilohertz. So that's what I would input here. And then it will use a generic curve to address changes in frequencies in settings as I change them in the top parameter. Does that kind of make sense? I don't know if you guys are on board still or not. You know the curve.
Yeah, it makes sense.
No, okay, I've lost everyone.
No, I didn't realize the peak frequency was at 25 on the 30-watt JPTs. I thought it was like 30.
It is. Maybe it's 36. I don't know. The 36 actually sounds better. Put 36 in. It doesn't matter.
Sorry. I wasn't trying to question you.
It doesn't matter. For this use case, it's irrelevant. So put in 36. I think it is actually a little bit higher. And then we'll scroll down a little bit. So destination. So this is what you want this setting to run on. This is what you're trying to get it to. So if you're sharing a setting with a friend, the source that we just filled out is going to be the friend's laser, right? And the destination is going to be your laser. So this is what you're trying to get it to run on. So here we could say, let's maybe move it to like a 60-watt JPT, right? So we'll do 60 there. The frequency doesn't. Why is there a frequency there? I think we can just leave these blank. I actually haven't tried this since the latest update. So just delete frequency. Just empty that box. And let's say pulse width 200. So we're dictating that we want it to stay at 200, I believe. And you could delete speed. Let's say we want to keep the line spacing the same at 0.25. Our field size, let's say we're on like a 220 lens. And the peak frequency on the 60-watt M7 is like 75?
No, that's not
It's like 47.
It's like 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whatever. We'll call
that's
it
fine. And we'll leave the log alone. And if we scroll down, suggested power 0%. All right. Well, maybe it's because we didn't fill out. I don't know why. See, this is weird. This is the kind of what I've been trying to figure out is like why it wants a frequency and a speed from me. But let's put some values in and see what it does, because now I'm curious. Just put like anything. Sure.
Do you want a couple of comments on this as you're working through it?
Yeah, I mean, we won't spend too long on it, but I am interested. So it's suggesting a power percentage for you, which would be 46.5%.
Nice.
So you're dictating the frequency and the pulse duration, and it's telling you based off of that what power you should run.
Yeah,
so maybe if you ran a shorter pulse duration, it would alter that.
Yeah, it seems like it's. Let's try that. Can we dictate a shorter pulse duration? Let's see what happens if we do like 100 nanoseconds for the pulse duration.
Oh, look at that. It changed the destination peak power.
Did it?
Yeah, go change it again. See?
Interesting. What I want is to be able to select like a modified or a group of modified values. I feel like it's doing the math right, but it's not giving me the options that I want. So I need to work on it a little more. Like, I'd like to be like, hey, here's my setup. Don't change the speed, but you can change the power or the frequency to compensate.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Right? Like, I get that what it's doing here is like it's giving me a final percentage back. And that would be okay for, I guess, most use cases, especially if you're moving up to a larger laser. It probably would be less convenient if you were moving down to like a less powerful laser, because at some point it's going to hit 100%. It's just going to max out and not return any other values or changes. So it needs to be updated, it needs to be worked on, but it's here. If you guys want to mess around with it, give me some feedback. There's the new dev channel in the Discord, and I'd love to hear from you about it there. To see what you guys think, or if you think calculations are being done correctly, or if there's a UI change you want to see. So this is the first one and probably the most complicated one. And we'll run through the others really quick, just so that we can get through it. If you want to head back, Kyle.
Well, real quick, while you're doing that,
Yeah.
Mike C put a couple of comments in here, and those would definitely be good for the dev channel that you started. He said it'd be slick if you select the source from the DB and it pulled the peak frequency automatically.
Hell yeah.
He also said I was actually looking for that peak frequency in the DB the other day, and he was looking for the chart, and he asked, is there a single peak frequency or a frequency where peak energy begins to be available where everything below it's not full energy?
It's a curve on both ends, I believe. So like, I think at some point you reach a peak pulse output power, and then you keep it for a while, and then you start to dip again.
To degrade.
Yeah. So it's definitely a curve rather than like a plateau. But it also varies depending on source. And I think it matters whether or not it's a MOPA, because those behave differently and have different scales on their curves too. You're muted, yeah. Anthony. You're muted, bro. You're muted.
Yeah, because if you look at like the M7 data sheets, it'll have like a cutoff frequency for each of the 17 presets for the nanosecond, the pulse durations. So each one will have its own individual peak frequency, because that's the shorter the pulse, you're going to need more pulses to get to that hypothetical 60 watts of power output. So
right, which is why
NS, then you have to go way higher on the frequency. So
that's why I went out of my way to make sure this calculator included the pulse width. So I definitely want to like swing back around to that, because I feel like I'm like 90% of the way there. I think it's more an input output issue than like a math issue. So
the other question Bunny Washer had asked is, how did you come up with all these setting conversions? Very cool.
So it's all based on how we used to do the old spreadsheet, was really the seed of it. And then I took the base of the code. So back when we had Shark, I don't even, Christians and what's his first name? David. Back when David wrote the original Shark laser param converter, he kind of like refactored that math into actual code. And then these are all PHP scripts based on that math that David came up with experimental math for pulse and frequency that this is still really new, but it's pretty simple, and it's just kind of iterative. So we haven't made massive changes to the way that we're making the calculations. We're just iterating on it and trying to add new things and see if they're even right. I don't even know if they're calculating right. At the end of the day, you're going to need to sit down at two different machines and bounce settings back and forth to actually see if it's doing its job correctly.
Yeah,
because
and it might just get you in the ballpark to get
and as it always has. I think if you click the power and lens scaler, Kyle, one more time. Thank you, sir. Sorry, you're the mouse boy today. Scroll all the way down.
There a disclaimer there?
Yeah, it says
yeah, definitely should be, because people get like pissed off and they're like, it didn't work, and it's like, yeah, again.
It's at the bottom. I see. Okay, yeah. So I had another one at the bottom that basically just said this is like heuristic. It's not a physics model. You know what I mean? It's not. You're not getting like perfect.
What you should
world.
put up at the top of this is, instead of putting it's heuristic, is just say this will get you close.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's what that means.
I know that, but that's what I'm telling you. If you're like, this is heuristic, people are going to be like, is that some kind of laser? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Neither here nor there. Anyway,
There.
the next tool, let's look at one that actually works perfectly because it's so stupidly simple. The DPI to LPI to DPCM. I love this one. It's amazing, mostly for using X-Tool machines because everything is in dots per centimeter. And I know, oh, just multiply by 2.54. And I'm like, I can't multiply anything by 2.54 in my head except for 10. So,
That's
like,
very heuristic.
yeah, you know, it is. It gets very heuristic very quickly. So here it's super simple, guys. You type in any one of these numbers and the other two change. Super easy. It gives you some additional data, including your interval. This says line gap from LPI. I need to change that to interval. I was using more words than I needed to, and it really just needs to say interval. But it gives you your interval, which is really nice. It gives you pixels per centimeter if that's something that you're interested in.
Can you put a number in for me real quick in the DPI?
Is it 69?
No, he already did that one. Go ahead and put in like 80085. Okay.
You're an idiot.
Doesn't look like a calculator.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true. Okay. Can you put? I want to see if I remember this off the top of my head. Can you put 1018 into the DPI? Yeah, look at that. That I always knew this number 1018 is the dots per inch. That gives you a perfect 0.025 millimeter interval. I know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you'll never forget that now. You're welcome. So anyway, this works flawlessly. Of course it does. It's dead simple. Of course, you can get the interval from the DPI just out of Lightburn. I really put this one in here because of the dots per centimeter, which it's annoying. It's just an annoying extra thing.
It's a really useful thing, though.
Yeah, I have this particular page from the toolkit just saved to my home screen on my phone, so I can just open it. And
if you could make that into a widget, that'd be bomb.
Yeah, that'd be bomb. Yeah, totally. So anyway, that one's here. That's all I really have to say about that. We can go back.
What's pulse overlap?
Pulse overlap is super interesting. So pulse overlap, as you know, when you are firing a pulse laser, you're doing a certain number of pulses, right? And then your mirrors, you can click it, Kyle. Your mirrors are scanning across the surface at a certain speed. So this takes your scan speed and maths it with your frequency to tell you how, by what percentage your pulses are overlapping one another. Yeah, which is interesting because if you think about it, we're always talking about line distance and how, the closer those lines get, the more that heat is building up, right? But we don't really talk about it in a vertical sense. We're always talking about it in like a horizontal sense, or scratch that, I guess, reverse. We're always talking about it in a vertical sense, as in like stacking horizontal lines, right? But we're not really talking about it in a horizontal sense where our pulses are also overlapping depending on our speed. And that is going to make a difference, especially when you're trying to do fine calculations related to how much energy density you're applying downrange, right? So this gives you really the overlap percentage is the number that this calculator is for, because it gives you a solid number to say, okay, these pulses are overlapping by this percent. I want a different result. What percent overlap do I need to get to achieve that result? And it gives you just kind of like a concrete number. It also gives you the pulse spacing if you prefer that. I think the overlap percentage is a little easier to see in my head. If you tell me that pulses are overlapped by 75%, I can kind of picture that. I can't really picture 0.0133 millimeters, but I gave it anyway, just so that it's there and so that you can see the math working too. If you know that your spot size is X, right? So your spot is a certain size, and your distance between those spots is a certain distance, then you can see exactly how much each of those pulses is overlapping one another.
Can you try something like actually, like a real one this time? No jokes.
Okay.
Can you do 330 speed, frequency 190, and then I think the spot size I had was typical. So what is that, 0.3, right? 90.
Point
Or
zero-
not 0.3,
zero
30.
three?
Yeah, spot size is 30. Just put 30. So wow, and then what I did was I changed it. So that was like the first run. I actually ran something yesterday at this speed to do like an anneal, like a 1-pass anneal, and then which I think Anthony was looking at. He probably already knew because I think you shared that one with me. It's a dope on the 50 watt. It's a dope one. And then I hit it. I bumped it up to 300 frequency. Like let's see what happens from 190 to 300. Like when it changes. So everything else is the same. Dang, it went up like another 3%. Okay. Or 4%. So what's interesting is like for people who you're wondering like what that means. So just changing the frequency and doing nothing else. So this is where it was hit with like a black on gray. But the cool thing is then when I did the second pass, it turned it to, so this was what it's supposed to look like when you're staring at it to the front. But I can literally get green and purple by just changing that frequency and hitting it with nothing else. All I did was just change that. So that was kind of cool. So just a static effect, and I've been able to do that 2 or 3 times, and so I was always wondering that kind of stuff, like what actually changes. So
yeah, and this doesn't exist in a vacuum either, and it's being presented in a vacuum, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum. A huge piece of this is going to be your pulse width, like how long are each of these pulses is going to make a huge difference in that energy density. And we actually use the very first one we looked at, the power scaler, uses these other calculators as like modules to make its calculations. So this kind of is just taking that and breaking it apart into smaller pieces so that you can focus on like one specific thing. This is also why your laser makes weird noises when you use a frequency of like Kyle, like 10 kilohertz, right? And you're going at like 2,000 millimeters a second. And you can see like the overlap is 0%. The pulses are spaced so far apart that
it looks
not
like you're making one of those old-fashioned score line cuts.
Exactly. Yeah, they're just spaced
like
out
perforations.
Yeah, and you can hear that happening when you're marking it that way. So when you have a 0% overlap, you're not even making a contiguous line anymore. You're now putting like a dotted pattern onto the surface of something. So this can be a good sanity check too. If you think something's going wrong, you can pop some values in. Of course, you have to measure your spot size for this to be accurate. You can use averages, 0.03 millimeters or 30 micrometers. I need to change this too. I would rather, I think, the spot size be inputted as millimeters. I think that'd be easier for most people because that's probably how they're going to measure it.
It's going to be much more simple to not have to convert it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking like integers, like I wanted integers, but I think now that I'm actually like talking about it out loud, I think I prefer millimeters. So I'm going to go back to that.
The majority of the time when we talk about it on the show or in videos, it usually is.
I mean, down here you have the conversion too. So
yeah. Yep. So anyway, that's what pulse overlap is, Anthony. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I like that, dude. That's actually something I never really considered. Like you said, we always talk about line interval, but never like pulse intervals. So
this is some deep nerd shit tonight.
I know, dude. It only gets worse as we go. Let's talk about hatch overlap. That's the next one. So here, guys, it's a very similar thing. So you've got a spot size. You're going to put your spot size in, and then you have your hatch gap and your LPI, and I believe those are linked up. So if you put a like lines per inch of like, let's do 10, 18 again. Yep, there you go. So those are locked in, and you can see the overlap result. So this just gives you kind of like the same breakdown that we got from the pulse overlap, but this time we're talking about line interval. So this is specifically tackling that verticality with the lines. And so this is more standard. You guys are used to seeing this more often, but I did like having that, again, that percentage. 50% overlap gives like a very clear visual cue as to like how far or close apart those lines are. And you can play with those numbers and try to get them, close to 100, as close to 100% as possible, or as close to 0% as possible without like dipping under that, right? So you could definitely play around with this and get some useful data out of it. But At the end of the day, it works largely like the other ones. So there isn't as much to talk about here. This is much more of a basic engraving concept, but it is available for you if you need it for something. Next up, the job time estimator. This one was interesting. So here we have, again, the terminology is the same. So that first mode drop down there on the job time estimator is going to ask you if you're doing a raster or
A vector.
Yeah, I mean, click it. Let's make sure that's what it actually says. Okay, good. So a vector is going to be line work, like if you're doing a cut job, right? And then raster is going to be anything that is filled at all. So it's more about how we are scanning, not the type of scan we're doing. Let's go back to raster for the example, though, because it's a little more complicated. And so obviously you're going to put in how many passes you're doing. Your raster inputs, this is just a general width and height. So how big is your object going to take up? Obviously, I don't know the weird, perfect area being engraved by your non-square shape. You know what I mean? So if you're doing like a logo or something, there's going to be a lot more polygons involved than, you know, a box.
If you have an image mask over your image to make it form fit to whatever object you're engraving,
there's 1,000 different shapes, right? And so Lightburn is going to be better at estimating your jobs. But if I would use this more as like a quoting tool, you know. So if I don't have Lightburn up or I don't have their, you know, image ready to go while I'm sitting there trying to give them a quote or something, this could give you a pretty good idea of how much time it's going to take to run while you're trying to do that kind of work. And for that, I think it's useful. So anyway, it treats everything as just a box because I don't really know how else to deal with it. You can input the DPI you think you're going to need for the job and the speed you think you're going to run it at, and it will give you an estimate on the amount of time that it thinks it's going to take. The overhead factor is there for things like acceleration or settle time on mirrors for jump delays, things like that. And if you scroll down, I actually give you some recommended values for those depending on the type of work you're doing. This, obviously, you're going to just have to learn it a little bit and kind of get a feel for what values are appropriate for what type of job. And this is here for you if you want to read it. But essentially, just different types of jobs on different types of machines are going to increase or decrease that overhead factor. So it's really there just to give a little bit of salt and pepper to the straight up calculation for things that are generally unaccounted for when you're doing just the simple math. But I didn't want to get much more into it than that because I don't think this tool is going to be used all that much. Again,
I have a suggestion for this one.
Okay.
Is there a way that you could add in for the estimate like a cost of laser cost per minute, and then have it do estimated time multiplied by laser cost per minute equals suggested estimate?
Like turn it into a price calculator?
Yeah, like literally that's because I mean you've already got the estimate there. If someone can literally put in, I'm going to charge.
So you're just putting in a dollar value. So you're like, my time is worth $150 an hour. This is going to take 2 minutes and 42 seconds to run. What should it cost?
So then, literally, because if that would be a dope ass tool that you could literally just favorite that page and there you go. So
that might be. I honestly, I like that idea. But now I'm kind of thinking like, would that not just be a better calculator to build? Like specifically for that task, you know?
Yeah. Just thinking that, like, if we're thinking of tools that people use all the time, because we get asked that a lot here.
We do. I think that in that case, I would rather be like, what is your runtime on what you're trying to quote?
What do you want your hourly rate to be?
Maybe have like a variable for quantity and change out time and stuff.
That would be easy. That'd be super easy to throw together. So we could definitely do something like that. Okay, well, that's this. Yeah, this is a good suggestion, Matt. We should definitely add that. And then last but not least, it's the spot size calculator. Yay. So again, guys, this is very heuristic. Okay, it's not a physics model, but you can get approximate theoretical spot sizes based on some things that you know about your machine setup. So first is the wavelength. And then that's pretty obvious. That's going to be what it is. I have little quick clicker things in there for fiber and CO2, but UV is 355. You could just pop that in. Your focal length is in general, the distance from your lens to the material. It doesn't have to be exact in order for this calculator to work, but the more precise you are, the better result you're going to get. What's the actual distance being measured there, Anthony? Because I know you had an answer for that when we were talking about your lens deep dive video.
As far as like focal length
how,
advertised on the lens versus
what is that actual focal distance? Is a measurement from X to Y? What are those? Something to the substrate, right? I feel like you talked about this. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. Yeah, your focal length versus like your focal height is going to be different because of the way that it's calculated. But yeah, it's I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. The point is, I've actually tested this one a couple times, and it's pretty close. So, I'm just using like my focal stick length, right? So
you're using the actual focal height, not the focal length of the lens.
As far as like. Are you talking about
focal height would be the distance from like the bottom of your lens to the actual substrate?
Yes.
And then your focal length is like F equals
to the mirror
330 or whatever.
Yeah, yes. So I'm using in general. Well, I guess it would be the focal height then if we're getting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the F value of your lens, right? So like does the
F value be the focal length? Yeah.
Yeah, focal length. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
cool.
an F160 lens. You type in 160. That's for a 110 by 110 millimeter workspace. That's
Beautiful.
what I'm using. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Beam diameter at the lens. So this one is a little tricky because I didn't want to make 50 boxes for you to input to calculate your beam diameter at the lens. So this kind of just expects you to know your beam diameter at your lens. If you are pushing a 7 millimeter beam out of your source and you're running it through a 2x expander, then your beam diameter at the lens is going to be 14 millimeters. And that's just something that you kind of need to know. That's the CO2 Galvo example, but different lasers output different diameter beams. You can look that up on the laser source database, and then you can run that through whatever expander. If you're using an expander, not all lasers have expanders. That value could be 0. But that's the value that you're going to put in there. So it's your beam diameter at the F theta lens. And then your beam quality. This is, again, every single source in the laser database has a beam quality rating. And you just pop that number in because it does factor into your spot size. Once all of those values are input, you get an approximate spot diameter that you could use to calculate interval for photos or anneals if you're trying to get an overlap in. And then at that point, you've got values now. You've got a spot diameter value you can take over to one of the other calculators to use. So just another little tool that I thought would be handy. You do get the spot diameter and the spot radius. I just included it because it was just a simple divide by 2 and you get an extra number. I don't really know what use case I would have for having that, but it looked really sad and empty down there, so I added an extra value. But yeah, the spot diameter does seem to generally be pretty accurate out of this if you get your values right when you're inputting them. So yeah, that's the last one. So that's the laser toolkit, guys. There's a lot more that I'm going to add to this, as you can see back in the actual. If you hit the back button, Kyle, for me real quick, bud. There's a lot more space, so we can add quite a bit more to this as we see fit or as is requested. If you guys want to see something, you can again drop a comment in the dev channel on the Discord. I would love to hear about it because I do think having like these handy little calculators makes a difference with workflow. They're all things Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is honestly like a lot of information in one spot for people to have at their fingertips. Because I can think of probably 8 different websites you might have to go to, or 6 different websites you might have to go to get a reliable source for all of this stuff. Like I used to always have to go to one site for like Thor Labs that had a calculator for the beam spot size, and then another one to measure the power scaling and, you know, how much pulse energy you're getting per pulse at certain settings and all that stuff. So like all of this stuff being in one spot, I think is just a tremendous benefit to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say. When I made this, I made it for me because I was tired of going to 8 different websites to get this kind of stuff done. And I do use these kind of calculators fairly often, and I did want them all in one spot. You guys just happen to be benefiting from it. So I really did make this for me, and I made the tools that I wanted to use first. So if there are tools that you would like to see in this toolkit, please let me know, because they are probably trivial to add. It's not a lot of work to throw these little apps together.
The price estimator literally was just like, that's probably going to take you like 15-20 minutes. But honestly, that's something I will go back over and over and again, because I literally just had someone ask me, there was a company that had 2 different logos. The first one, I was like, oh yeah, that'd be like $8 a glass if you're ordering 50 of them, right? Yeah. Because it's a really minimal thing. Then the next one, he's like, well, could you do an image? And the image was like just a huge engrave. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, Jesus, that's going to be like, because like when I pay $1.25 for a glass, and then I do like a 3-minute engrave, and then I can charge $8. I'm like, okay, that's not bad when I'm doing 50 of them. So that's going to be $400. That's worth the money and time. Then you look at the other one was going to be 7.5 minutes. And I'm sitting there like, okay, that one I can't. That's basically, can I charge this guy double? How do I figure out this price? And that's where if you can do, how much is my UV laser time, you know, per hour to run plus this, like,
I'm thinking, like, what if I wish we could like include like a cost of living modifier. So it'd be like, how much is a dozen eggs where you live, and you put that in, and then it generates like a modifier multiplier to like your pricing, like to like spit out. You know what I mean? Yeah, a gallon of gas, something like that. Might be interesting, because
how much does a taco at Taco Bell near you cost?
It's so easy to like talk yourself down in price. Where you're like, I'm still making money, but then you think about it.
Anthony in Iowa is not going to charge the same as, you know, von Sputenberg in downtown Manhattan. Those are going to cost different things. So, anyway, so that's the laser toolkit. I'm done with this, and you guys are done being bored by it. So now we can go on to the star of the show, guys. So we can just head back to the main menu here, scroll down. And it's the background remover. This thing is really fancy. So I built the UI. I don't take credit for the actual magic that's happening behind the scenes. It's way, 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 way more advanced than I know anything about. But what I do know is that it gives you a selection of 10 different AI models that you can run images through, and they remove the background for you. The original software is called bgbye. It's open source, and it only uses open source AI models to generate the image results. So it's absolutely free. Anybody could host this. So we run the server for this in the background, and then we present the front end like one of our app pages. And I just got this working 100%. I was really not stoked on the mobile view. It had some issues. So if any of you guys were trying this out earlier today, and you thought mobile was kind of wonky because you couldn't slide the slider around and it was like moving the screen all over the place. Did you try that, Anthony? You're nodding.
Yeah, I was in a park with my kids, and I took a picture, and I was trying to do. I was like, "What the heck is going on?" Yeah,
that's fixed. It doesn't do that anymore. So it's super easy, guys. Drag or drop an image there, or you can click to select a file off your computer. You know, feel free to minimize Kyle to get an image loaded in if you have one that we could use as an example. Maybe
I could use the one from last night.
Whatever you want, buddy. Whatever you want. Hey, perfect. All right. So this has a slider, guys. It shows you the before and after here, so that you can see exactly the changes that are taking place. If it hasn't run these through any of the models yet, you just get that blank transparent background on the transparency side. But as we run them through the models, you'll be able to see the different changes and compare them. So if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see all the different methods that we have. There are definitely some of these that are specialized, like the ISNet anime one is literally made to remove anime characters from anime backgrounds. So if it does weird stuff to your photo that is not anime, that's why. But we can run all methods, and it's going to slowly start chugging through these one by one. GPU safe mode means it's safe for my GPU, which is running all of these calculations. So I appreciate you keeping that box checked. If you don't, it may crash during processing because it runs out of RAM. Basically, the GPU just runs out of RAM trying to process all these models at once. So it can be faster to get a fast, like a super duper fast result if you uncheck it, but maybe one or two of the methods will succeed and the rest will fail because the GPU just runs out of RAM. So by checking that box, all that you're really doing is just telling it to take its time and do one at a time instead of trying to do every single one all at once. And they're pretty quick. That took what, like 15 seconds to run every single one of those models. And then the cool thing that I really like is that now you can move this slider back and forth to see the results and see exactly what it's removing from the image, what's remaining, how the edges look. You can click through them as much as you want to compare different results to see if there's one that you like better than the others. And yeah, I've just been using bgbye, the back end for this, for a very long time on other people's servers. And I was like, I just need to share this with everybody else. Like, everybody needs access to this because it just would make so much of, especially like photo engraving workflow, so much easier if you're trying to get rid of backgrounds and pictures and stuff. Forget erasing things in Photoshop or whatever. Like, you just pop it in, you get a usable result right away, and you're good to go. I don't know. There it is. It works. I wish that.
And then you just go down here and hit download.
Yep, you hit download.
You click the one you like, and you're good.
Yep, you click the one you like, you're good to go. Works on mobile, works on desktop, and it's pretty great. There's a couple small little tweaks I still want to make to it, but for the most part, it works really well. I'm super happy with it, and just stoked that we could get this online.
Bunny washers.
What does it mean when they all turn red? Because every time I tried to successfully run it, I just got a bunch of red dots, and it said like the file size was too large or something like that.
That can happen, yeah. So that's a good point. I'm glad you bring it up. I don't know if I can customize this or not because it's something that's happening on the server end when it runs it through the GPU. It just doesn't like things that are like bigger than 2,000 pixels wide. If you drop anything bigger than that in there, it'll just shut it down. I think one or two of them might succeed with larger images, but for the most part, they're just all going to instantly fail. And a big time you're going to see that is when you're processing photos directly out of someone's phone or camera, right? Where you're getting like 4,000, 4,000 by 6,000 pixel images. It's going to struggle with. That said, some of them I've run just straight out of my phone while testing the mobile view, and they've worked. So I don't really know. I'm wondering if there's like a way I can increase the max image size in order to like let people. I don't know if it's like there is a thing to protect me from the traffic or whatever. So I have to look into it. I don't know what the actual hard limits are on size. It seems like it should be able to just take an image from a phone and do it. You shouldn't have to downscale it to get this done. But that's going to take more research from me. And I wanted to get this up without having to deal with that. So
another thing that we found during testing too is image type can matter. So AVIF files are going to crap on you. They're not going to work out, and you're going to have to refresh the tool. So if you can, PNG or literally pretty much any other image type as far as I'm aware. But like you'll notice if you're zooming around on Google Photo Search, a lot of the images you're going to get are going to be AVIF, depending on what you're looking at and where it's coming from and how they're stored. So you may have to like work around that or convert it or take a screenshot with the snipping tool or something to get a different image type.
Yeah, I've tested JPEGs, PNGs, and WebPs all work fine, and it always spits a PNG out as a result. So,
Nice.
the main types, I think AVIF is like a big Apple thing right now. I feel like when you take a picture on like an iOS phone, it saves it as an AVIF.
HEIC.
Yeah, those are the HEIC. It probably won't work on those either. It's probably going to choke on that too. But
I can test that later.
Mike C says it might be worthwhile to run the image to a downscaler converter when loading the image. I've thought about that, but I don't want to make the assumption that it's okay for me to fuck with your image that you're using for production work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to like give you back a file that's worse than you gave me. So I'd rather that be your responsibility. I understand the convenience of it, and maybe there could be a toggle that like says downscale image if necessary. Again, I don't even know if there is a hard limit. I might be able to just put like 2 lines of code in and bump that up to like a 5 gigabyte image file, and it could be fine. I don't know. So
for all we know, it could be a bandwidth thing or a memory thing.
I literally have no idea, and there's virtually no documentation available on this. So I've been like figuring out all of the settings for the UI by probing the server and like guess and checking. And it's been working okay, but there's a lot more that I need to figure out. So I will definitely swing back around to that. In the meantime, if you have to downscale, sorry, but it is fine for most things. Unless you're engraving like a wooden billboard, you should be in good shape with the file sizes that this is accepting and outputting. So
Michael's asking, what's the name of the open source?
It's bgbye is the guy that wrote the open source, but you can pull it up. I have no problem sharing it. I'm going to put a footnote that links to it at some point so that he gets attribution for his work. But if you click the new tab button, Kyle, and you just type bgbye, that is the like model server that's running in the background. We can show that to people real quick if they're curious. Oh yeah, there it is. So this is it. So if you scroll down, he just like has some notes and a development log, and there's some comments on it. It's an itch.io project. He literally
people asking questions.
Yeah, people asking questions, things like that. So it hasn't been updated in a while. It's on the older side, but it just works tremendously well. And he gave me everything I needed, and anyone else that wanted to. He literally gives you everything you need to host it on your own. He intended for this use for the software. So, yep. I'm super stoked about it. I'm happy with it. Somebody asked, I didn't see who it was, but somebody asked what GPU we're running for this. This is just a 3060.
Yeah,
Ti.
it was Bunny Washer.
Yeah, it's a 3060 Ti. It's not anything insane. I think that it would probably be a little more comfortable with something a little bit bigger on the VRAM side, but it handles it fine as long as I don't dump a bunch of requests onto it at once. Which with our community, I'm not really concerned about because, I'm not really concerned about it. So I don't know. I could always upgrade the GPU later if I really need to, but right now with everybody that's been testing it today and in and out, it's been handling everything fine. So yeah.
Jack was confirming web-based, no GPU needed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex
does no
Alex is hosting the hardware, so you can just open up the website and rock it if you want.
The only thing this does on the client side is show you the buttons and the input and the output. Everything else is handled by our server. So
and give you a download button.
Yep. That's literally we take care of all of that. So there's no processing happening on your end of the browser at all.
And then there's a couple other questions too, or at least comments. Like Chris had mentioned, an option to select downscale would be cool. Like that'd be neat.
Yeah, it's easy.
And then the other thing too was Resin had said she hates when the background removers downgrade it automatically without asking, especially if you're getting an image from. In case you're wondering, like, why would you do that? Like if you get something supplied by the customer and they're like, hey, can you make this? They're expecting this, right? And that kind of distorts what you promised them you could do. Also, when people send you stuff, I don't know how many times, I think Anthony has mentioned it, and I know I've mentioned it too, like when you're like, hey, can I get a picture of your logo? And they don't have a good logo, so they're like, I've got it on my shirt, and then they take a picture like they do, like some weird background. Honestly, you could probably grab a really good image to create like a raster image from that, or a vector image rather, sorry. But like that might mess with it too.
If it's a non-gradient, you could probably run the trace tool to get it, but
right. But when it goes down to like pixelized garbage, and then you're trying to get a vector off of it, then you have to sit there and you're changing the cut and all that kind of stuff, and it's like.
I used to use FreePick to upscale the images, but FreePick is not so FreePick anymore. So they want you to pay like $25 a month or whatever for their upscaling tool, which was a bummer because I used to use that thing all the time because people would send me just trashy images. I'd run it through that and then trace it in Lightburn, and 99.9% of the time I would get a phenomenal output. But
which one of you? Somebody said that to me today. Who was it? Do an upscaler next. Was that?
That was me. Yeah.
Oh, that was you? Okay. Yeah. Well,
because FreePick's not free anymore. I was like, good job, Alex. Now do an upscaler.
This guy has some other stuff. Can you go back to the bgbye page real quick, Kyle?
By the way, while he's doing that, Jack in the shop had a good idea for people who are doing this. He said, I always go into the settings on iPhone. I go to my camera, go to format, change it to most compatible, and then your phone will save in JPG.
Nice. Very nice. That's cool. If you scroll down there, Kyle, a little bit, and you click. No, wait, go back up. My bad. Sorry. A little bit more. Keep going to the top, I guess. Click about. Click about. This guy had some other projects here too that I thought about, like messing with. Not the novel one, not the expression one. Just another AI app. That one looked interesting, but it's for like generation. But I think it uses like outside resources instead of your own local hardware from what I was reading about it. So I don't know. That might be another thing to look into. I just wanted, that was more a personal curiosity than like a show thing. Sorry, Kyle. You can close that. So yeah, that's
Bunny Washer said that like ChatGPT will take an upscale sometimes. So I might have to check that out and see.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I've had mixed success with it because, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Like when you get those really, really fine detailed designs, but they're like, oh well, the last person who made this for me just made it, and I'm like, yeah, they own that design until you purchase it from them. And honestly, I've told them, I'm like, hey, listen, for me to sit there and fix this and do all this stuff is probably going to cost like $50 to $100 because this is going to take me a while. I was like, you might be able to just get it cheaper from the person who already made it before. They have people who are like that. It was a person who was making shirts and they had the PNG. I can take that PNG and turn it into an SVG lickety split. So just saying, something for you guys to think about when you talk to your customers.
Yep. So that's it. That's my update. That used our whole hour. I sorry it took so long today, guys. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. But there's a lot of new stuff on the website. So you can find all that over at MakeArmy.io. There's links to it directly on the lasereverything.net website as well. And of course, you can find all the links to support us. Actually, that's not even all the links. I need to add a couple more. There's no coffee link. Where's our coffee link for our support us? I got to add that. There are two other new things. I'm just going to gloss over these super quick. Kyle, can you open in a new tab, Pixar and Private Bin? Because those are really useful, and I don't think I've talked about them on the podcast yet. They're under utilities, Pixar and Private Bin. So this is just like Imager, guys. So if you just need somewhere to dump a photo, you can literally just upload it. Guest access is enabled, though you can register for an account. That way you can retrieve images that you've uploaded in the past later. So if you guys just need somewhere to dump your photos, boom, this is available for you. I'm using it constantly to like remote host images that I'm using in other parts of the website, just so that I have like a quick link from the server to it. So yeah, it's nice. If you've ever used Imager, it's pretty much the same exact thing. It's very, very simple and pretty easy to use. The other one is called Private Bin. So if we go to the other tab there, I also use this pretty constantly at work. So this, you could type in anything, Kyle, anything at all, and then you can click create on the top right. Error saving document. Okay, great. Note to self, fix this. Anyway, you can save it, just pastes, right? And like share them with people. So like maybe you have like some settings you want to shoot to someone else, or maybe you're taking some notes on the spot and you just need a clipboard to like write them down so you can move them into some other document or spreadsheet later. When you hit create, it just gives you a link. And then when you access the link later, it reproduces the text for you. Super duper simple thing. You can do stuff like burn after reading. So once the link is clicked, it'll delete it. You can open discussions based on it or set a password. So if you only want somebody with, certain ability to access that information in the paste, you can just type in a quick password and then that'll be applied to that paste when you save it, which is super nice. One of the other reasons it's called private bin is because everything is encrypted by the browser. So the server can't even read what's in the pastes. You're the only person, only the people with the link, and if applicable, the password can read what was saved in the paste. The server never has access to the keys, which is pretty cool too. So you can use this pretty privately if need be. But yeah, this is just like paste bin. It's just one that we run locally that's a little more privacy centric. So I find this useful to have in my workflow. If you do too, it's there for you. And it was easy to set up. Though apparently it's broken right now, so I need to fix that. But
work in progress.
That's it. Okay, sorry. Last two tools. That was it. So anyway, guys, that's the update. I hope that you enjoyed it.
That's incredible. I think that's going to help a lot of people out, and people like curious people like me that like want to know if you change this, how does it affect that? Being able to like dig into those tools that you shared today and kind of mess around with things is pretty sick, dude.
Bunny says Alex totally made all these tools for himself, but the public also benefits. I mean, it's
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But that's why I know they're going to be useful. Because if I'm using them at work, then other people are probably going to want to use them at work because we have the same jobs, right? So I'm assuming that that would be the case, especially that background removal. It just works so well, dude. Like I have one that I can't share with you again because it's not letting me share anything right now. But I have one of Ollie like passed out over the arm of the couch, and it just looks like he's just a casualty in a war. I used the background remover on it and it just came out like perfect, dude. I love it.
Oh, Chris says this is going to reduce the size of my bookmarks file by about 80%.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. Spread the word. Tell people the resources are available. That's how we get people to support the channel and the server now and just all of the different services easy to get to. This just telling people about it is really the number one thing you guys can do to help out. Just kind of letting people know that these resources are here and there's someone trying to provide a place to access them.
And click the like button real quick so that people see it when they pop into YouTube next time.
Yeah, give it a little tappity tap. A little tippity tap tap. A little tip tappy. Guys, there's links down in the description, not only to our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus, but to my wonderful co-hosts. 2 of 3 of which do this for free every single time that they come on. Kyle is selling infinitely repeatable patterns on his Etsy shop. I hope that's going well, man. He's got a ton of stuff over there that is really, priceless.
By the way, hit this cup real quick with the zoom in, because Kyle, like the other thing that you can contact Kyle about is I had an image. God. Sweet Lord Almighty. I had an image that I needed to make go around the cup, and he was able to help me kind of get this going. So sick. There you go. And we basically added the text and did all that stuff, and he was just helping me knock it out. Boom.
Chill. Not only can Kyle help you get that going, but Matt can help you get your business going. Boom. Yeah. That was a perfect segue. With his new kind of consultation service that he's doing. So if you have questions about what kind of business entity you should be, or how much you should be charging for a certain product, or whether you should
bring your cups into a local shop like this one is being sold down the road for $25, they get a certain percentage just for having them there, and I don't have to own a store. And I've got a whole bunch of people at Weekly who are walking in and seeing my stuff with a nice little name badge and like a link to my shop.
Yeah, or maybe you have questions about like talking to a principal without peeing in your pants. Matt's really good at that too.
Literally.
All those kind of stuff, business centric things that are laser engraving by proxy. Matt's the guy. There's a link to schedule with him down in the description. And I don't know if you saw this, Anthony, but it says down by the Beam It Up Laser Tape link, it just says, if you don't have Beam It Up Laser Tape yet, I don't know what you're doing.
I mean,
probably be stuck.
So yeah, right.
It's sticky.
I get it. It's a good one. So yeah, Beam It Up Laser Tape. Go buy some of that because if you haven't,
awesome.
I don't know what you're doing. And I think that's all I've got. Does anybody else have any final comments before we bail today?
I would just like to say, if you're not a member of the Laser Master Academy, that you should probably click that link at the bottom left-hand side of this screen right now and become a member and help support this man for all the things that he does for the laser community. So
yeah, it supports me, it supports Kyle, it supports both our families and Rhiannon now too, and it's just a super special place with a lot of super special people that genuinely care about you being successful. I mean that's like really the number one selling point. Just filled with like rock solid people that actually give a shit. So if that's what you're looking for, masters.lasereverything.net. Good call out, Anthony. Nice one. We'll slam dunk there at the end. I think that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I was going to end, but Bunny's saying shout out the coin contest real quick. Do it, I guess.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Bunny, back-to-back winner. And he chose for this upcoming contest, which will be, I think, closing out at the end of next weekish. It's what is it, like a brand rep kind of category. So the theme is just like whatever brand you have. Like for me would be Beam It Up Laser Works and or Beam It Up Laser Tape, you know, and so just take that, make a coin or, you know, something that you would hand to another maker to advertise yourself with. And that's what we're doing. So,
this was the one you jokingly said that I could actually participate in.
Hey,
I meant it, dude. Like you already have a coin, and I thought it would be cool to see you rock the UV and do a wooden one because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing this month too.
That would be fun. Yeah, like a wooden.
I think it would be dope.
It'd be really cool. People keep complaining that I don't have business cards because I'm not fucking 85 years old, and I might do like maybe some coins to pass out instead. That'd be cool. Be like, oh, do you have a card? I'll be like, no, I got a coin.
Like a little wooden one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Super impressive. I think that would like leave a real neat impression on people. So,
all right, bitchin'.
Come join us.
Link in the description. That's all I've got, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. You're so dumb.
Everybody.
Night, everybody.
Bye-bye.